our little veggie garden. The other side, back behind the barn, we've planted some produce for ourselves that we try to do a little bit every year, and going to have more as the season goes on. Shirley just loves to make signs, and so she decided to make our little veggie garden. What we have here are some pole beans that we planted back in April, and some peas, and we've got peas there, and as we go down the line we've got some sugar peas, and then spinach that we've been harvesting on now for about 4 or 5 weeks. We've pulled a lot of pounds of spinach off of these plants, believe it or not. And we love to stir fry spinach. Shirley also cooks it with vinegar, and we sure enjoy our spinach. Spinach is something that's so easy to grow. We just keep cutting it almost every 2 or 3 days, and this time of the year, and we just make it part of our diet. One of the things about our pole beans, they do grow very rapidly here. Let me try to get in a little closer. These posts are almost 7 feet tall, and we've got beans right now coming up and over the top and starting to come down. We're just now getting into the blossom stage, so we'll be starting to see some beans forming real quick here. Then right here below me, we started like everybody else. We have to have some squash, some zucchini, and some yellow squash. This is a yellow crookneck, one of our favorites. We used to grow this commercially down in the Coachella Valley, along with zucchini, and every day seemed like in the wintertime we did this for Christmas money. We'd pick and pack zucchini and ship it off to Los Angeles and get 75 cents to $1 a box. That was a lot of fun in those days. Just behind the squash, we've planted some melons. We do love Crenshaw melons. When we had our truck garden, we used to plant about 2 to 3 acres of Crenshaws. Take them to farmers market on Saturday, sell them for $1 a piece, and that was 20 years ago. Just had a great time with Crenshaws. These are Crenshaws right here, coming up doing very nicely. We've got some with blossoms on them right now. In the previous video, you saw these just popping out of the ground. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Today is Memorial Day, or as they celebrated, May 26th. We'll come back and take a look at these plants in another week or 2 and see how they're doing. There's some Crenshaw melons. And then over to my right, we've got our little watermelon sets coming up. These were all planted from seed. They were actually planted at the 1st of April. We did have some cool weather in April, and so we had kind of a slow growth, but we're starting to get some running on our watermelons. We have both some large-size watermelons. I think I've got some Klondikes here, and we have some of the icebox watermelons, the little nice short ones. There's a plant up the way here that is running real quick. It's just kind of a precocious watermelon. You never know. These plants are set by genetics, and this one really started off well, and as you can see, it's starting to run, and it's even got a little blossom up there at the end. We'll come back down the road. We got there our little patch of icebox ones, and then behind that I've got some honeydews. We always liked honeydews, and that was a big seller in our fruit stand. We loved big old green honeydews. And then back here, I've set some cucumber plants out a while back, and we took an old corral panel and put it up there, and we're kind of keeping the cucumbers up off the ground. So we got them coming along on the corral panel. Then just yesterday, I went back down to our favorite garden center down near Prickly Pear, and Diane gave me some heirloom tomatoes, and we planted some heirloom tomatoes back here, right back there. Those were just set in the ground yesterday. There was about 18 inches of stalk that I buried on that plant, and the same with the other one back in the corner. And we'll keep an eye on these. Now, these aren't part of the experiment. These are more for us, and we'll just keep it going on those. One of the things I did for Mother's Day is I got Shirley an owl. Yes, sir, and that owl is animated. He moves. He's got 4 different sensors, and he moves and hoots. Well, I was hoping old Mr. Owl would hoot and move for us, but I guess we need to change some batteries. He's been working awful hard keeping the birds, and of course we get a lot of critters coming in off the bank of trees there. We got some deer that hang out and out in the pasture, and of course we have our fox family that shows up every morning here. They love to be out in the pasture with the horses. And there's some at Shirley's trail course where she trains her miniatures to go through the obstacle course. There's some close-up on the cucumbers, and if you look right down there, if I can get into that, there's a real nice cucumber just kind of hanging out there. There it is. There it is. You see that cucumber popping down, hanging down. It's not going to be ready pretty darn quick. Nice looking cucumber. And then the other thing that we're having a lot of fun with is our potatoes in the tires. Now, this is nothing new to most of you, I'm sure. Here's some red potatoes that we put in. They're already 2 tires high. I've done something a little different. I took a piece of PVC pipe, drilled some holes in the bottom, drove it in the ground, and I'm watering the potatoes through the pipe to get the water down to the potato roots, which of course are at the bottom down there, way down. I worked that soil up below the tires and let the potatoes sprout, and then placed the tire and kept packing it with mulch. We've got about, I think there was 6 eyes in this tire with the red potatoes, and when it's all done, I think we'll be about 4 tires high. We should have a nice crop of potatoes coming. To give you an example of what it's like to start with, there's one that's only 1 tire high. Those again are reds that I planted a little later. And then I had some problems, so I had to replant, and so we've got 3 little plants right here that are kind of a little behind, but they'll catch up. And then we had some poor luck so far this year and in fact, I'm not real happy with this Yukon Gold. There must be a problem down in the plant. The plant just hasn't been vigorous, and even though it's been watered well, I see a little droop in the leaf, and we'll take a look at that later. And to get an example, this is again Memorial Day. Right here we had a few russets pop out of a single tire that I just planted these russets, probably a week or so ago, 10 days ago. And there you'll see the little spud popping right up out of the mulch. And we'll follow this tire again and see what kind of progress we get on the russets. So back here at the back of the barn, kind of a place for us. This isn't our tomato patch, of course, although we have some tomatoes. We've got our little patch of our veggie garden. We look forward to melons, of course, and I'm going to plant some corn, and then tomorrow I'm going to watching the great videos on YouTube and participating in some forums. I'm going to plant some tomatoes in straw bales, and we'll keep a track on that. Just so much fun to learn new things. You know, I'm learning different people prune differently. Some people feel I prune severe, but that's okay. We're happy with what we get, and we like to grow for yield. Hey, this is Chuck again. We thank you for coming back to Chuck's Garden at the One Mini Ranch in Orland, California. Shirley's home, so we're going to have a lot of fun this week, and maybe the next time I do a tomato set, she'll be able to hold the camera for me. Thanks a lot.